The Honda Odyssey has been hauling families around for more than 2 decades and providing a more engaging ride than you'd expect from a minivan. In fact, the first Odyssey was based on the Accord and featured 4-wheel anti-lock discs and a fully independent double wishbone suspension on a minivan in 1995. Flash forward more than 2 decades and it barely resembles the little MPV it once was. And now for its 5th generation, Honda has added a bunch of innovative features to help you forget you're driving a minivan. Hi, I'm Mike Perkins from CarGurus, and this is the all-new 2018 Honda Odyssey. Okay, let's talk about the body. This 5th generation Odyssey rolls in the same 118-inch wheelbase as before, but the body is 0.3 inches longer, 0.7 inches narrower, and a full 1.2 inches taller. Overall curb weight has been shaved by 75 pounds thanks to the use of high-strength steel, aluminum, and magnesium, which also managed to increase structural rigidity by 44%. Additionally, the power liftgate now opens more quickly and presents a wider opening than last year for the 31.3 cubes you'll find behind the 3rd row. Drop all the seats and you're dealing with nearly 140 total. Okay, now for the real meat and potatoes of any proper minivan review. How fast is it? And the good news is, it is fast. The 3.5-liter V6 has been massaged this year for an extra 32 horsepower and 12 pound-feet of torque, putting total numbers at 280 and 262 respectively. With new 9 and 10-speed transmissions to push all that power through, that means that the Odyssey will now jump to 60 miles an hour in just under 7 seconds, making it the fastest minivan in its class. This is the Elite trim, which means it gets the 10-speed to replace the old 6-speed from last year, and it's getting the job done. It shifts quickly and doesn't hunt around all the time, which is what usually makes me wary of transmissions with this many gears. Every other Odyssey trim gets the 9-speed transmission, which I haven't driven, but I have heard complaints that it's a bit slow and not very smooth, so something to watch out for. Regardless, both are rated at 19 city and 28 highway for a combined rating of 22, which I've come close to matching, even though I've habitually deactivated the not very smooth stop-start system. Now, actual gear selection, on the other hand, that's a little bit funky. Honda has decided to go with push-button actuation for gear selection, and personally I think they're headed in the right direction. They want to clean up the console, and I think that that's a great idea. Here they have a pull instead of a push for reverse for safety's sake, and a lighted ring to designate drive or sport modes. And honestly, it works really well. I mean, there's a little bit of a delay upon the initial gear selection, and I don't really think that it cleans up the console as much as they said. It still takes up quite a bit of space, but it looks good. And if you favor sport mode, there are actually some paddle shifters here on the wheel, which is something I did not expect to find in a minivan. Now, I'm sure you want me to talk about the powertrain just all day, but there are other improvements to discuss. First, let's talk safety. From the 2nd tier EX trim up, all Odysseys now come standard with Honda Sensing Safety Package, and that adds adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring with rear traffic, forward collision warning with intervention, and lane departure warning with intervention. And that's exactly how it should be. Safety just shouldn't be an option. Braking, on the other hand, that puts the Odyssey about middle of the pack at 124 feet to stop from 60 miles an hour. That's about a little bit better than the Pacifica, a little bit worse than the Sedona. Where Honda really wants you to pay attention is the technology. For starters, the infotainment system is no longer Honda Link. Instead, it's a new setup built on Android Lollipop, meaning it's not as slow and doesn't look 10 years old anymore. They're aiming it to look and operate like a tablet, and they've mostly succeeded with big, bright icons, physical home and back buttons, and a customizable status bar that allows you to choose your 3 favorite apps. The voice recognition is still a frustrating mess, but with standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you have some welcome alternatives. The 10-inch screen for the kiddos has been updated as well with some additional built-in kid-friendly apps. My favorite is the "Are we there yet?" distraction, but this is still a single-image screen, so your kids will have to compromise. However, with Honda's new cabin control smartphone app, you can let them handle that, as they can use their own devices to control what they're seeing, hearing, even the rear climate adjustments. And if they get a little too rowdy, well, Honda's got a solution for that as well. If you upgrade to the touring trim and above, that's a 45 grand admission ticket, by the way, you will get Cabin Watch and Cabin Talk. With Cabin Watch, you can activate cameras in the passenger compartment so you can get a high definition view of what's going on back there right here on the screen, and that way you don't have to turn around and actually look at your kids. And best part, if they're headphones on and ignoring you from the 3rd row, Cabin Talk will allow you to interrupt the audio of whatever it is they're listening to via an in-cabin PA system with a microphone right here in the steering wheel, and that's the only microphone, so they can't answer back. A couple more generations of innovation and we don't have to interact with our kids at all. Now, is any of that necessary? No, absolutely not. But it sure is fun to play with, and we need more of that in car design. Regardless, with all these improvements and innovations, the only reason I can think to buy another minivan is if you need all-wheel drive, a sacrifice that Honda just isn't willing to make with the Odyssey. Otherwise, why wouldn't you want the fastest minivan on the market? Hey, thanks for watching. There's a lot more to cover, so if you want all of the details on the 2018 Honda Odyssey, just click the link in the description. You'll head over to CarGurus.com where you can read my full review. And for videos of some of the competition, just subscribe to the channel.